Live from the mighty Veedverks Airship, I'm Travis Lippert, CEO of Verks Unlimited Limited, better known as Veedverks.
And I'm Julie Richardson, Director of Commercialization and Promotion. And we have with us...
Hi. Melanie Rose Rodgers with Influential X and Safe Access Colorado. And
Cindy Sovine with Sovine Consulting and Utopia and Safe Access Colorado.
So we've had an interesting, it's been 3 weeks since we let people know what was going on. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we worked on is gone now. So let's start with that. That's a DUID.
Correct. I forget the bill number, but you might have heard that there was a DUID bill, and it was called the Tandem Per Se Bill, which actually, it was, the bill sponsor was Dylan Roberts, Representative Dylan Roberts out of Eagle County. And what I really love about this approach, and with the bill, and Cindy I'm sure can talk the background about it, is that he called a stakeholder meeting to talk to people about the bill even before the bill was introduced. And I was fortunate enough to attend that meeting to talk about how this bill, and learn more about the bill, which would have given law enforcement more of like a per se role in deeming if the person pulled over was under the influence or not. Right. Usually if that ever happens to you, you have a moment to deny or just refuse a blood test. You can do that, or you can you're pretty much proven innocent before being handed or served a DUI. And in this case, the discretion would be with the law enforcement officer. Imagine that, where so thank you to everyone who attended that stakeholder meeting, and we were able to
finally got it through to them.
Yes.
We had several different patients that were there, and talked about the different doses that they took. So there's no way. What if you're microdosing with the transdermal patch? Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I think we had enough people there to get it through to him that what goes into one, there's not a universal cut and dry, kind of solution to this.
Well, and Dylan Roberts was the bill sponsor of the bill to allow school personnel to administer for students in school, which is part of the Green Crayon initiative that we'll be talking about a little bit later too. Right. So it's not cut and dry, but to Melanie's point, he did the work of reaching out with a draft on a bill before it was introduced, held it up, didn't do anything until he had a chance to meet with the stakeholders, and then ultimately decided he was not going to move forward because it wasn't something that he could work with. And I just want to thank Melanie for her leadership on that, because she really spearheaded the coalition and got people there and showed up, and it was a great thing to do. So we'll continue to have dialogue with Representative Roberts. I know he's definitely interested in the issue and wants to continue to talk more about it. But I think that's definitely
So we would call that victory, that we were able then to, the bill was introduced, we were able to, and then I heard, thanks to that Representative Roberts actually, asked for a no vote in the beginning of usually when a bill is introduced and read. So that was a little news for me. I heard, we had the stakeholder meeting. I heard internally he was kind of on the fence a little bit and was just understanding more of the, intention behind the bill. And then he went in front of everyone and asked for a no vote. So that was definitely a first for me, but it just shows how when we come together and we're actually at the table and we can talk about our concerns, how we can also shape policy. So
yeah 21-year lobbyist, that's how it's supposed to be. Kudos, Dylan Roberts. Thank you.
So where are we on opioid? We had to wait yesterday for a pharmaceutical bill. Where are we on ours?
So Senate Bill 13 passed out of the Senate 27-7, one excused. The bill was just assigned to the Public Health Committee in the House, which was an interesting move. The autism bill went to the Health Insurance Committee, and that bill came out of committee and then ultimately passed the House unanimously. The committee that opioids just went to is a completely different makeup, and it's got a lot more of people that are new to medical side of cannabis and unfamiliar with it, or are physicians who are not subscribing to the belief in it, or the the parts of where it can and work. And actually, they are also the co-sponsors and sponsors of the bill to add vaping to the Clean Indoor Air Act. And so that's actually why we were there until 7:00 last night, waiting for our opportunity to talk about how that bill takes away the rights of cannabis consumers statewide, and what needs to happen and what we need to do to get our message out about that. But in good time, I guess, we'll start with opioids, because right now Senate Bill 13 has been scheduled for March 6th, which is a Wednesday, and that bill is going to be heard in that committee, and I expect some drama. I'm not really sure what it's going to look like yet, and I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that we come to a workable solution on the vaping bill, and patients are able to make their voice heard and be able to have an opportunity to have a conversation in that. But that's in the Health Insurance Committee, which is the same committee that we had autism in, not in the Public Health Committee. It's just the same members that are sponsors of the bill are on that committee.
Are on the same committee.
So it's, a real testament to what the work we're doing with Coloradans for Safe Access here, because you have to be in it for the long game. You can't burn relationships over one bill, because everything is connected, and you have to really be able to look at and manage how you continue to educate and get people to understand their role and what's going on.
Well, I'm not mad about what happened yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
Standing back, especially, I received a newsletter from one of the representatives, talking about how they've been saying this is a teen nicotine thing.
Yes.
And that's what they've been pushing. And then yesterday they're trying to go, oh, wait a minute, we're not calling it that now.
Right.
Yeah. So that's really so Senate Bill 13. We'll be getting talking points out and putting that up, and please look for Melanie's call to action and Drug Policy Alliance, and everybody's going to be putting efforts towards what they're doing right now to push this bill and get it through committee and onto the floor. We know if we get to the floor, we'll be fine, but we got to get to the floor.
Right.
So.
Well, I think they went upstairs and talked about it and decided they weren't ready to talk to us.
Well, yeah. I mean, we had that
that's what
opportunity.
happened.
So what was beautiful about yesterday?
About what bill now?
Yeah, let's
1076.
Oh,
1076.
yeah, 1076.
So we're jumping around, and we're including on Senate Bill 13,
So let me tell you
which
something
was
about
opioids,
House.
but 1076.
House
Right.
Bill 1076
Yeah.
is trying to amend the Colorado Clean Air Indoor Act so that it would ban vaping indoors.
Yeah.
And we'll see several things about it, but I'll tell you my thing about it. My thing about it is that it defines an electronic smoking device as any product that contains or delivers nicotine or any other substance intended for human consumption, and that can be used by a person to enable the inhalation of vapor or aerosol from the product, and includes any product described in subsection 5.4a, which I just read to you. It's weird. They should have just said above. Any of that of this section and any similar product or device, whether manufactured, distributed, marketed, or sold as an e-cigarette, e-cigar, e-pipe, e-hookah, or vape pen, or under any other product name or descriptor. And so we sell vape pens. These awesome vape pens. And we sell e-liquids these awesome e-liquids. A lot more vape shops ought to have these things, by the way. So then, and it says that later that smoking means inhaling, exhaling, burning, or carrying any lighted or heated or plant product. Any lighted or heated tobacco or plant product intended for inhalation, including marijuana, whether natural or synthetic, in any manner or in any form. Smoking also includes the use of an ESD. So in other words, this candle will be an electronic smoking device. It is a lighted or heated product that is made for the purpose of emitting smells that people inhale. This is a fire-powered electronic smoking device. and I'm currently smoking it because I'm carrying it. It says that carrying an electronic smoking device is smoking it. So this is currently, this under House Bill 1076 is an electronic smoking device, and I'm currently smoking it. Here's a pack of incense, right? I'm currently smoking 20 electronic smoking devices right now.
Yeah.
This is Veedverks' new fog machine liquid. It's infused with 10 grams of CBD and terpenes. Or we'll make the just the regular fog machine liquid for you for the same price. It's not cheap, either one.
It's
But,
amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's
Smells
awesome.
amazing.
I'll be happy to sell it to you. This is so they're gonna ban. Are they just gonna ban this fog machine liquid? Like all it is excellent fog machine liquid. Are they gonna ban that? Are they gonna ban? I mean, not ban the liquid, but ban the use of it. So what's the point? It's like, are they gonna ban the one with CBD and terpenes? What is their problem? Is it with the diluents that are in these products? Is it with PG and VG and PEG? Is it with the flavorants? Is it with terpenes, which I'll be happy to explain to them, because there are it will ban candles and call them electronic smoking devices and say that if you're carrying them, you're smoking. So they need to get a lot more specific with this language. Sorry for that rant.
No.
Ran away. And first of all, thank you to Veedverks for coming. This is now, yesterday was the second time this has been, the hearing was scheduled and it has been moved. So I really appreciate Travis and Julie from Veedverks for coming to, that's okay.
She'll be back.
For coming to the Capitol to definitely provide their testimony on why this is an infringement on our rights.
Well, I mean, for me to show up, it's important. Because last year I had about it to hearing about how ineffective and how lazy cannabis users were from all the doctors that testified.
Right.
So being there as a patient, as an employed patient, as a volunteer with the organizations that come, you know, it's important. But, you know, we were able to step outside and several times talk to different reps, you know, and they literally looked me in the eye yesterday and asked me, why can't you use the inhaler that they have?
Yeah.
You know, and I'd like to address that. You know, for one, what they put in that inhaler is, you know, that's just, you know, whatever that is, you know, what if that's not right for me? What if the right percentage isn't there? And what I'm needing is buy another product. So that's not always an answer. Part of what they were saying is the smell. Well, I hate to tell you, you can smell those, you know, when you take a hit off those atomizers. So it's not that either. But you know, to be literally told that they didn't realize that people used vape devices for medical uses like epilepsy, like anxiety attacks, like neuropathy pain, all of these emergency situations, you know.
Yeah. That's, I think, the problem with the bill is that they don't understand what they're doing in terms of the impact to the cannabis community and what we've been trying to communicate with them. I've met with the sponsor of the bill. We've talked about it at length. A number of individuals have met with the sponsor of the bill, and we keep saying over and over again, the message that we are getting from you is that this bill is about keeping tobacco, nicotine, cigarettes, e-cigarettes out of the hands of children, which is a goal that all of us would say we are supportive of.
Yeah.
The reality of what the legislation does, though, is it makes it illegal for everyone else, because it's already illegal for children to have e-cigarettes at any time. In school, out of school, it's illegal for them to have them, to be sold them. It doesn't matter. Under Jack's law, the kids that are allowed to have access to medical marijuana in schools, it is in non-smokable form only. That language is already in the bill. It's clear. So this is not an issue that we could solve with law, because law is already there. This law is about changing behavior, and the legislature trying to tell the state of Colorado that this behavior is no longer acceptable publicly and should no longer be viewable publicly. And that behavior has dramatic implications for the cannabis community, specifically for patients who are seeking remedy for whatever their condition is, and vaporization is the most efficient form of delivery. We've had doctors and nurses who have come to the Capitol now twice and sat for almost 8 hours to talk about why this is the preferred method that they recommend to their patients. They sat for all of those hours to be able to answer those questions that they don't understand, that they haven't had the time to listen to. And we're hopeful that we'll have a fair hearing on next Wednesday at 1:30 when the bill is rescheduled. Is that the 27th? I think that's right.
Yes.
And it's supposed to be the first bill up. But the reality is that they are doing this, I believe, for what they perceive are good intentions. And the groups, the stakeholders that are behind this bill are really what are the problem for me, because they are the same groups that are opposed to opioids, which is still a very real threat that we have to deal with. They're the same groups of people that are opposed to delivery and cannabis hospitality consumption licenses. They're opposed
Wait, when you say opioids, just
adding
to
them
clarify,
to the list of conditions.
there are
for
people
medical
who
marijuana.
are opposed to adding opioids. Or explain that to the
One of the bills that the patient community is working on this year is to add opioids to the list of conditions, any condition for which an opioid would be prescribed. So
right.
this is
So the initial injury they can have.
Yeah. It's really about ensuring that people have a safer alternative than opioids. And Melanie speaks so eloquently about what's going on with her, with the millennials right now with all of this. And I don't know, feel free to jump into that. But but as far as 1076 goes, that's my alarm. As far as 1076 goes, that's going to be back up on 1:30 on Wednesday, and I really hope you'll show up and come and speak for your rights, because this really, even though the sponsors don't quite understand it, it is a Trojan horse. It is really designed to hurt cannabis consumption at the heart of where it's happening right now.
Right.
So, thank you.
And then I'll
Love you.
I'll also add.
She's got to take a call.
She's got to take a call.
She might be back.
I also want to add is, what I've been hearing, and Julie and I and a few members, Colorado Normal, we met with the bill sponsor. We asked for a cannabis exemption. She said no exemption. I hope, within the next few weeks, we would be able to kind of just continue to push for our concerns, and we really need everyone to...
No exemptions.
No exemptions.
How about plug-in air fresheners? How about this Airwick brand plug-in air freshener that has lavender and chamomile fragrance? I'll tell you right now, lavender is linalool. If you that's the terpene that smells like lavender. Are these banned? No exceptions? Because this is an electronic smoking device. It is a lighted or heated device that is used for the purpose of emitting vapor or aerosol for human consumption through inhalation. But also, I'm smoking it right now because I'm carrying it.
Yeah.
You're going to ban no exceptions, not even for this?
Yeah, that's why we need to keep...
How about for my candles? How about for my electronic smoking devices?
This is a bill that, again, has lots of gray areas. I personally feel it's criminalizing vaping. Now, I got to see who was showing up at the Capitol, and we had Parks and Recs people. So you have the whole national parks people that want to ban vaping outdoors, which then to me, that seems that we're taking vaping. We're now saying vaping is equal to smoking. Now, when you vape, say you're, for the vaping community out there, for people that make concentrates, now you have a product that if people are doing this in public, they can now be criminalized for vaping. Now, I did read a study that vaping can save, anywhere, I think it was 86 million people from the harms of actual smoking. So now we're taking vaping and we're putting it together with smoking, and depending on where you are, and hopefully you own your home, because if you're renting, now you face a landlord that can say, hey, for vaping, you got to go. And think of all the people that mitigate all their ailments.
Well, it's against the law. They could call the cops on you for you.
So that is...
Is it that against the law?
So
is violating the Clean Air
Act, it's definitely a fine. So now
Could
people
they-
are going to be
could a
fined for
landlord call the
vaping in
cops
public.
on you for
But they could
vaping?
use it for eviction.
They
So
could use it for eviction.
Yeah.
that is just something that, again, and then just following, back in a couple years ago when Colorado was I know I want to vape too, just to say, hey, we're doing it inside. No, just kidding. But if back in the day when we passed the Indoor Clean Air Act, it went like wildfire across the country. So this is definitely, something that people, again, are looking at Colorado as a leader for. I think even in New Mexico right now, there is a similar bill, something about indoor e-cigs and to get rid of
But
that.
this isn't just about e-cigs. We make, I'm sorry to interrupt,
Yes,
but
go ahead.
we make vape cartridges, right? That's 420 milligrams of CBD in 1 gram of total weight. It's 42% CBD. We make e-liquids that have 300 milligrams of CBD and 34 grams, 30 milliliters of e-liquid. And obviously the fog machine liquid could, if you don't think that's vape fluid, that's definitely fine. But vaping also encompasses things like getting a PAX.
Yeah,
A
right.
PAX 3, grinding up herb and putting it in the bottom of your PAX. And
Right.
that's vaping.
That's
That would
vaping.
be vaping.
That's vaping.
And if you were doing that with hemp, if you're trying to get, over tobacco and using that with,
Yeah.
say the volcano vaporizers that doctors who tell patients to use, like the giant tabletop, like $600 device that just passes heat through the plant material. It doesn't burn it, and it all goes up into a great big bag, and then you inhale off the bag. It's like totally
They do it at the
medical.
hospital. Give it
that
Yeah.
will be banned.
That will be
Using
banned.
in your own home.
Yeah.
Well, what gets
In
me
public places, but the threat is that we know that it then can be written into the
It can be written in
boilerplate leases. That
home
everybody-
owners associations and
Yeah.
things like that, like that would eat this up. And again, I do see this as just one right that we have, quality of life. We can vape. It's not smoking. A lot of people are curbing whatever, actual smoking cigarettes with vaping. How many of you do that? I mean, it's huge. And they're saying now they're trying to ban what we heard, and Cindy had mentioned before, and what we've read in the newsletter is that this bill was under, in the beginning we were told that it was for kids to address teens and kids vaping. And there is an issue with that. Colorado, there's some statistics there, but what bill's looking to do overall is greater than address the specifics of kids and nicotine and
Right.
using e-cigs. And I believe in that. We shouldn't have that. And that should be, something that is tackled separately. But to say that, and then we heard yesterday, someone then got confirmation or heard someone say that this bill isn't about children and nicotine.
Mm-hmm.
This bill is about banning vaping in public.
Right.
So now we have this to kind of chew on and say, I thought it was about kids and nicotine, and now it's about banning vaping in public. And now we have people, with Parks and Recs and all these other people wanting to take away that right that we have right now. Because for us, a lot of us, I see vaping as a definitely, healthier alternative than actual combusting of smoke. Mm-hmm. Another thing that they had said in the bill was that there's chemicals released in the air for vaping.
And the studies show that that's not true.
And then the studies show that I think that's not true. And then also when that was analyzed, they used a very small area for vaping. So if you use a small box and you vape, and it's like this big, that's where the test results and the data came from. It wasn't in a huge room inside where we vaped. I mean, most of you know that once we vape, it's there and then it's gone. And there's no residue left behind. So clearly we need, if you're out there and if you're a vape company and you want to help with some research studies, we have 1 week to really prepare a really strong case. They've now moved this hearing for a third time. I have waited at the Capitol 2 whole days. A lot of us have
well, the
hours
first one
to
I
be
could
heard.
understand. I mean, it was
No, not
snowing.
really.
Not really. We were there. But
Yeah.
then so yesterday, 25, 30 people show up for this hearing. It was amazing. And so 1 week from today or yesterday, we can pack the house with even more people. We have now a week to rally and get more, community support. Definitely want to hear a lot more from our industry vape concentrates people. This now, people can
For real. They're going to ban dabbing indoors.
Yeah, they're gonna
if you don't own your home, then it's a short matter of time before everybody who who has an apartment their little contracts can be amended to say that we're complying with Colorado yada yada, and you can't vape in your own apartment.
Yeah.
And people with government subsidies.
Government subsidized housing.
What gets me is, when we went to go and we went and met with them, they were trying to use chips on the table that they can't use yet. And this was brought up again yesterday. There's a hospitality bill coming up. And then there's also, for, what was the other one? Oh, a housing bill. And you can't say there's a bill coming up and use that as a bargaining chip. That's not a bargaining chip.
They're like,
if they've passed it.
Do it first.
Yeah, do it first.
Do it first.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I told her.
You don't take off your safety strap and then
hey, catch me.
Put it on.
Yeah. No, that was great. Thanks for bringing that up. That was a very interesting point. Basically, the bill sponsor, when we met with her, she said, and I said, well, you're leaving cannabis patients, people who vape, with no place to consume. We understand, kind of the failures that happened with like I-300 and the red tape that they give. So we only have 2 social consumption lounges open. And now they're saying, but we're going to take vaping away from you inside, and we're going to pair it up with this new hospitality bill. And then you'll have your place, cannabis patients and consumers, to consume your cannabis with the hospitality bill. But this bill hasn't, I don't even believe it's been drafted, or it hasn't been introduced. We don't really know much about it. So they're saying, we're going to take this freedom away from you and give you this, but this is pending.
There's like how many Southern sayings I could proof in the pudding.
Of how we need to have, again, so we really do, we have 6 days to really rally. And if you haven't contacted your legislators, we'll make sure we put this in the segment out there of who to contact and express your concerns that this is an unnecessary bill that really infringes on our rights, on our quality of life, to have vaping in many forms. Candles, fog machines. If you're a medical patient.
Yankee Candle needs to be here next
I know, right? But if you're a patient and you definly use
essential
vaping,
oil companies with their air mist
aromatherapies. Well, bathroom. The
one at the Capitol.
There's in the men's restroom by the cafeteria at the state capitol. There's a little device that's up there at the corner of the room that every now and then goes sprays out this. I would hope at least this bill says plant or synthetic. Like it talks about nicotine, which isn't about us. It talks about marijuana, which isn't about us. We're a hemp company. Hemp is cannabis sativa L with less than 0.3% delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol on a dry weight basis. We're a hemp company. It doesn't even talk about us. We're being thrown into this from a business perspective because they also say, or just plant material. And that affects our vape pen business and our e-liquid business and our candle business. And our fog machine business.
You do a cannabis
from a
terpene
business,
candle,
that's what,
we need you to step forward.
This is
the
candle business is going to get crushed. And think about all the effort that's gone into these new plug-in these new electronic smoking devices. And I'm not even going to think about the incense business now. Like, say, make incense out of hemp-based, hurd and whatnot, grind it up, and then use hemp-derived terpenes to, that business is just...
Right.
Yeah.
And if you're a product manufacturer, you don't want to create a product that then people will be using in public then they're at risk to being fined.
Right.
Or getting a ticket. That's not why, people go into the business of eventually having their product then being banned or added to the Indoor Clear Act, which bans it in public and now serves you a ticket for, public consuming or vaping.
Now, I've been in like clubs and stuff like that and seen the people with them, just the humongous clouds. I've got my middle son vapes, and he would make these big, huge clouds just to annoy the mess out of me. You know, I can see if that's what they're talking about,
Right.
but that's not what we are talking about.
Yeah.
So they're trying to ban VG.
Yeah,
Like, they
you know,
don't-
if that's what they're
they don't like-
saying, you know,
Say what you mean.
say what you mean. Because now, you know, I sent out that huge campaign using the city of Lakewood and how they're putting the responsibility on the retail establishment to check IDs and be forthcoming in what they do and be conscious of who they're selling to, and how that tobacco-free Jeffco is, you know, how they've proven studies that that's how you control teenagers and getting it into the hands, as you make it the responsibility of the retailer. So they got all of that last time. So now they're not talking about
Right.
this. So, you know, they just don't want to hear from an adult epilepsy patient like me. Explain to them, you know, and I don't mind doing it again. Here, I have, these are my solutions. If we were out to lunch and I felt one coming on, my go-to would be I could hit my CBD vape pen from Veedverks with the terpenes in there. If that doesn't work, I also have a THC one. If I still don't feel really okay, I have a sublingual. If that isn't, now I never go this far, then it's Ativan. All right. If it's still, if I go ahead and have a seizure after that, you have to give me a suppository. Now I outweighed you. How are you going to do that?
Yeah.
You know, and is that something you want to have happen in a restaurant? And there is no way, you know.
Nobody
and
wants that to happen
if
in
you're
a restaurant.
traumatized over me hitting a vape pen, baby,
I know.
do I have a treat for
go.
you?
Is the suppository would it be I mean, just out of curiosity,
It
is
looks,
that
it's
actually,
huge.
does it turn out that's actually the best first line of defense? It's
No,
just
that's
the least desirable
last. That's the last
because of the, you know, whole
it's severe.
restaurant pants thing? Or
No,
because
you would have to give me it's like an anesthesia. You hear the other epilepsy moms talk about that all the time. I have one of those. I don't get it filled because I don't want to give anybody any ideas, but yeah, it just never
Right.
goes. Usually they expire on me, so it doesn't go that far. But for me, I am 100% pharmaceutical free, and I think that's what these people are going to get is from the neurologist, and how she wrote on there, continue with your hemp oil. You're doing so well, no pharmaceuticals are needed, no return appointment.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I used to take a handful of stuff for neurological stuff that was going on and epilepsies, and the medicine would give me TIAs and other issues. None of that now.
Amazing.
So I'll just have to send that to them,
Right.
you know, because you have to have it. I don't know if I had a child, I would do everything, you know, like the law would be no smoking material. How was it worded? With the kids with the school act.
why isn't PAX here?
I know.
Right.
I need teach.
Like, this totally talks about you, PAX.
Yeah.
Like, about your,
Yeah.
it's really going to affect.
It's really going to affect vaporization companies and people that make vapor devices like packs, like, you know, manufacturers of oils and, you know, e-juice and all that. It's definitely going to affect that. And then, you know, Colorado say, I mean, we really need to do our part to kind of stand up and voice our concerns. And really, with this 1 week added, and then also, so I just want to say that we also I heard that someone on the committee said that this bill is supposed to pass. Like they're kind of already
Oh,
like
yeah, they
clearing
looked
it
us-
out of the gate, and it's that. So I'm like, okay, if now we have a week to rally. We're in the process of developing a fact sheet. I would love all the business owners in Colorado to step forward to say, no, we do not, you know, call your legislators and email them, but let's get a fact sheet. Let's get something like, no, we don't want this. This is a quality of life issue. This is our rights to vape. Vaping is not equal to smoking. And no, you're not going to take this right away from us. That's where I stand on that. And now giving us, an extra week, I'm like, okay, well, you thought there were 30 people to testify. We're going to, bring out 50 or more.
Well, we looked her square in the eye and told her we multiplied.
Yeah.
And that's what we're counting on is, we've done the legwork and we were happy to do the legwork. I think last night we made them think, because remember before they did that, they came out and talked to us, looked us square in the eye and said, we're going to vote on this and it's going to pass tonight. And that didn't happen.
Yeah. So it's really an added opportunity, even though a lot of us were there from like 11 to 8 or 7. And that's a lot of hours as business folk, as we're there and we're away from our clients at the time to testify. But I think it's an added opportunity for everyone who wasn't there to just make that phone call and make that email and just say, no, as a business owner in Colorado, I oppose this bill. If you want to ask for an amendment or an exception to add cannabis, if you're a cannabis patient and you need this, please let them know. Tell your own personal story. If you were a smoker for X amount of years and now you're, vaping and it helps and they need to hear from you. So we need everyone who would be affected by this bill to come on out. And so next Wednesday, which would be the 27th at 1:30, we're meeting at the Capitol again. I would say we're meeting at noon.
Yes. And
we'll have another event, Eventbrite page, so we can see if we're ordering lunch, how many people we need to allocate for. And then with the bill now, I hope being read first, that means we can even now prepare who's going to testify, kind of like plan it out. But we need to pack that house. We need to pack it really great with people that, say, no, this is far beyond what your intention was with kids and nicotine. And now you are taking away our, a quality of life that we have with vaping.
Right. Well, we need to jump to the crayons because we got to
get
off of here.
Let's do it. Okay, so next up, do you have the graphic? So I just want to give a really big shout out to Amber Wan in Douglas County. She is the brains, if you will, behind what we're calling the Green Crayon Campaign, Compassionate Care for Medical Cannabis Patients at School. So, here with me, I have some green crayons, and I'm going to explain this to the best that I can. But to find out more information really about the campaign, please visit thegreencrayoncampaign.com. And as you can see, we chose green because green is a color for, what we use in the medical cannabis community. And we also used crayons here because this is actually policy that affects medical cannabis patients at school and pediatric patients and medical marijuana patients. So, and I'll tell you a little bit about this campaign and where it came from. So you might remember, I believe it was 2016, Colorado voters passed Jack's Law, which would allow cannabis at school for cannabis, medical marijuana, or any cannabis at school for students that are that need this medication. And the campaign was that all kids deserve to go to school. We need to, if nurses or teachers at school are able to administer Ritalin and all these other things that kids are taking, then they can now, the schools can adopt a program and a policy to add that cannabis is available at school. And when we talk about cannabis at school, let me just kind of rein everyone in that we're not talking about actual flower products or smoking. There aren't kids smoking on the grounds of a school.
They might be if they're at a Catholic school and they're carrying candles down the acolytes
if the bill
are
passes,
smoking.
Travis has a point.
Yeah. And the reason why you're bringing this up, and it comes into why we need you so desperately, one of the new representatives, I promise y'all, gospel truth, literally sat in his chair, a month ago. He goes, well, I just can't see giving a child a joint and telling him to smoke it. And we all just went, really? So we have to absolutely re-educate all these new
Absolutely.
people.
We've got a whole new
You would
members of
think in
Congress.
Colorado that they would know a little more than what they do, and this man, he was just absolutely,
he actually
completely
painted,
null and
he
void
threw it
of what
out
he
there
knew.
as an example of a kid smoking on school, and that's the way he's taking his medical cannabis. And that was just one appalling. Two, shows how much education people
that he
still need
has
out there.
about his own state's
Yeah.
laws. If he had known anything about Jack's law, he would know that it had nothing to do with
Right,
smoking. Combustible.
non-combustible forms of cannabis. And really what kids are taking at school are, patches, oils if they need to, but that's it. Inhalers.
No sprays.
No sprays. But
these sound
no
terrible.
no one's smoking joints at school.
No.
Not a medical cannabis patient. So so you would think now that we have this policy now, and Jack's Law was written, it was signed in by Governor Hickenlooper, and it was a big victory for us here that would allow kids their medication at school. But now there's certain counties and school counties and policy and school boards that are not embracing this policy. So now there's children in the respective counties all over Colorado that because the school board hasn't adopted this policy, they aren't able to get their meds at school.
Yeah. So the law's passed, but they still are hitting a brick wall.
And if you think of education and where it should be for all students, all kinds of special needs, it should be equal. Kids should deserve a right to be at school, and depending on if they're choosing plant medications or prescription medications, they deserve the right to continue to be able to continue their education at school and not to be treated differently. So there is an example right now in Douglas County. I don't have the name of the families, but they can't get anyone to update their policy to have this medicine at school. And so Safe Access Colorado, along with Amber One, really leading the charge, and Stacey Lynn and Cindy Sovine and Michelle Walker, we've developed a Green Crayon campaign where if you go to this website, there are some talking points. This really kind of falls from a different campaign where we sent crayons to the superintendent of the school saying you have to, as parents, as supporters of the community, we want kids to have equal access. You really need to update the policies. So this is stemming from another type of campaign that was used to kind of really show that the community is out there in support of this. So again, the greencrayoncampaign.com. And again, a big shout out to Amber One in Douglas County, a mom with a child of epilepsy who's just fighting that, for that kids deserve the right to have their medication at school. And like right now, what we're seeing is that you have the nursing board, because there's a school nurse. So there's an issue with licensing. Everybody's up in arms, but nobody wants to take this. Meanwhile, there's kids in respective counties that aren't able to have their medication at school. And as Colorado, as someone as a leader in this change and really continuing the promise of what the voters wanted with Jack's Law, this is just something that we are bringing to the public as, again, go to the Green Crayon campaign. You can get some crayons and send a personalized letter to the superintendent of the school asking them to adopt this policy. So this is it. You can download that PDF, write a note, send some crayons. And again, why the crayons? So apparently if you send crayons to a school, this kind of gets jammed up in the log thereof, and so it adds greater attention with these crayons coming into to school. And again, the more people that step up and do this, we can really make a push. So if you are out there and you're reading this, especially if you're an educator too, I'm sure they would love to hear from school counselors, therapists, people in special ed that are like, I think it's definitely, I want to just assume that it's the younger generation, and it's like, give these kids the equal opportunity to school, give them the medicine that their parents are choosing and opting in for because they are the parents and they know what's best for their children. Like, give it to them. We want this. So if you're out there,
and a lot of people go, I don't want to see a child high. Well, Keppra is a horrible, horrible, horrible epilepsy drug. And it will cause a child to have forgetful episodes, but it also causes suicidal tendencies. And a lot of these horrible drugs that an epilepsy child has to take, some of them are life-threatening. Or they have to be so careful when they take them,
I'm thinking of all the side effects.
I just realized something.
What?
How many
Tell
drug
me.
company commercials have you seen?
Oh,
Or
millions probably.
where they say that the side effects include like thoughts of suicide or
rolling
suicidal
list.
ideation.
Right.
Yeah.
I haven't heard a single drug company or prescription drug commercial yet say that side effects may include homicidal thoughts. Isn't that weird?
Homicidal thoughts.
Yeah,
What do you
because
think?
all of the killers I hear lately, a lot of them have been
Right.
on antidepressants.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they haven't.
If they'll cause
It's not
suicidal thoughts,
these
it'll
drugs,
do the other
these
too.
prescription drugs that are being replaced with natural cannabinoid-based medications are. Some of them are pretty messed up. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Like they say on TV, suicidal thoughts, but I mean, also think about it. Do you think it's all these drugs across all these different classes and all these different companies and all these different brand names that have these thoughts of suicidal, like, why don't they ever say anything about homicidal thoughts? Right?
Right.
Is
Well, it causes
do they all
manic
magically just
depression.
make you want to kill yourself? Or do they,
Awesome. If you want
Well,
to
it
kill
causes
others.
anxiety, manic episodes, all this other, that goes along with that.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
well, you ready to wrap this up, girl?
I am.
Girl?
I'm good. So that is, again, the greencrayoncampaign.com. Shout out to Amber One and Safe Access Colorado for taking a charge and just keeping Jack's Law alive. We want the school boards to adopt this policy, which really equals compassionate care for medical cannabis patients at school. So,
Right.
Yeah,
And we need
and we have
you
some
next
other
Wednesday, 1:30 at the Capitol if you're in
Yeah,
the
you guys could go. I'm
Colorado.
going to hang out for a bit.
Oh, okay,
'cause I have
great.
a
All right.
couple
Oh, you
more
have somewhere.
things to-
Okay, great.
They both have places to be.
Yes.
And this is where I am to be right now. I have at least two more things to talk about. And
Right.
Awesome.
So
Well,
thank
thanks
you.
We
again.
want to shout out to Brangon's family too. They're
Oh.
at Ronald McDonald's house, and so prayers, good thoughts to them.
Brangon.
Yeah, with the baby.
Man, I just got
Hopefully they can get some good transplant news today.
I'm
For-
not caught up on Facebook.
Oh, you need to.
Really?
Yeah. So sending him
Oh,
lots
yeah.
of love. They're at Ronald McDonald's house this weekend, trying to see if they can get some answers for her. So let's remember to
Okay.
keep them.
Well, thanks again.
Yeah.
See you at
thanks.
the Capitol next week, everybody.
Yes.
What I wanted to tell you guys, man, that Brangon is an awesome guy.
Talk
But,
about Canathan.
Yeah. But let me give me 1 second here to adjust a couple of things. And I want to tell you guys that I am going to the, wait for it, Kansas Hemp Symposium. Put these on test. Hopefully that audio, we had to wing it on audio again today. So maybe that's better. Kansas Hemp Symposium. I'm leaving tomorrow to drive across Kansas. I will, of course, have my Kansas Marijuana Tax Act, what is it? Kansas Drug Tax Stamp. Looks like it still hasn't expired, so I'll have that. And I will also be bringing Dieter, the Veedverks Halloween ghost, with me. In case they want to... Because I'm not carrying weed, and you can't pull me over just because my car has a Colorado license plate on it. So I'll tell you what, Kansas Highway Troll, it's going to be on like Donkey Kong. You better make sure I'm speeding, and I'm not going to be speeding. And you better make sure I really didn't use my turn signal, because I really did use my turn signal. And then... after the Kansas Hemp Symposium, February 23rd, Hutchinson, Kansas. A lot of Colorado folks are going to be going out there and talking to hopefully a bunch of Kansas farmers, because I want to talk to somebody about my hemp maize. I'm not giving up on that idea. I want to plant a field of industrial hemp in Kansas this year with a crop duster. And I know it's not, don't think about the financial part of it. We're just proving a point. And then I want to, I still want to turn it into a hemp maize. And so one of the things I'm going to be working on is they specifically wrote it into their regulations after I called them to ask them. Kansas wrote it in there that you can't make an industrial hemp maize. And so, my follow-up questions include, well, what if I make a maize, but nobody can come to it? Like, it's totally cordoned off. What if I, install security to make sure that nobody ever comes to the maize? Can I still not make a maize in Kansas this year? So I'd like to get that changed this year, and I'd like to find a farmer that wants to, screw around with some harvesting and planting techniques in ways that don't make any sense other than the fact that we're trying to free this plant. It should have never been illegal. Then, presuming that I don't get pulled over for no reason and jailed for no reason in Kansas, then on Tuesday, we have Vicente Fox, former president of Mexico. Tuesday, 10 o'clock. Tune into the Veedverks Facebook page. It's if you haven't seen what Vicente Fox's videos are on YouTube, you've got to see them. He is hilarious. And also, we have some really, I don't know, we're going to blow your mind. This is going to be news. So, this is, it's a big deal. Tuesday, February 26th, 10, Veedverks Facebook page. We're going to stream an interview with Vicente Fox, former president of Mexico, live. And you should check out his YouTube videos if you haven't seen them. Or go to Google and search for Vicente Fox wall. So those were the final things that I wanted to say. And I see Mel and Julie are stepping out. So thank you, Mel. We'll see you on the 27th when we're going to go fight 1076 for the third attempted time. Thanks to Cindy Sovine, even though she's had to step out, and now it's just me. And although this says Michael Miller, that's what it's going to look like. Michael Miller will be sitting there on Tuesday, so I'm excited about it. So thank you, and I wanted to. No, I replied in writing. So thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll see you next Tuesday at 10. If I don't see you at the Kansas Hemp Symposium first. And my name is Travis Lippert. I'm the CEO of Verks Unlimited Limited, better known as Veedverks, reminding you, as always, if you don't get hemp here, get hemp somewhere.